Have you ever just stopped and thought about how everything might connect? Our ideas about ourselves, what our minds can do, technology, maybe it all fits together in ways we don't usually see.
Mm.
Maybe start with how we understand ourselves and especially other people. We talk about having a theory of mind, right? That sort of mental model we use to guess what someone else is thinking or feeling.
Uh-huh.
But Dynaxiom 3291 kind of pulls the rug out from under that certainty straight away. It says, you can have a theory of mind, but it's still just a theory.
Just a theory. It's a good reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
That our understanding of someone else's inner world is always, well, an inference, a best guess.
It really is. And then, this is where it gets really interesting, it links that uncertainty about others to our own minds, and even to tech. Dynaxiom 3297 drops this pretty big idea. The mind has always been a kind of large language model.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and it goes on saying, very often the technologies we eventually create resemble what's always existed primordially. It's an ancient AI.
An ancient AI. So wait, if 3291 says our theory of mind is just an inference, and 3297 suggests our own minds are like these ancient LLMs, does that mean when we try to understand someone else, we're basically running one inference AI on top of another AI?
Yeah, that's a wild way to put it.
It kind of reframes things like empathy, doesn't it? Maybe it's less, mystical connection and more just incredibly sophisticated pattern recognition, ancient pattern recognition.
Built up over millennia.
Exactly, which would suggest this amazing continuity, right, between how our minds have always worked and these cutting-edge AIs we're building now.
That really is mind-bending. Okay, so if our minds are these, like, ancient AIs inferring and processing, what about our own sense of self? Inside. Dynaxiom 3292 gives us something powerful here. It says, what you decide to do should always be you. Simple enough, maybe. But then it adds this crucial bit. There can be many yous in a lifetime. And the key is making decisions based on all the yous, not just the current you.
Right, recognizing that you change, you evolve, you're not just who you are right now.
Exactly. And that idea, that internal complexity, it then circles back beautifully to how we relate to other people. Dynaxiom 300 and 296 states, pretty bluntly, you're not supposed to ask what everyone wants. You're supposed to know.
Okay, that sounds demanding, like mind reading.
It does sound like that at first, yeah.
But maybe it's not about literal mind reading. If you're really in tune with your own many yous, your past, present, future hopes, then maybe knowing what others want comes from that same kind of deep awareness, from really paying attention, seeing the patterns, developing, intuition.
So it's about anticipating needs based on deep observation, not just reacting to requests.
Precisely. It's proactive understanding. And think how variable that is in leadership and design, even just getting along with people. It's about truly seeing them based on understanding complexity first in yourself, then in others.
That distinction between asking and knowing, it really sets up this next theme well about nuance and understanding. Let's pivot now to artificial intelligence. It pops up a lot in these Dynaxioms.
Right. It's clearly a big focus.
Yeah. And Dynaxiom 3293 kicks off with a concern, saying AI might further erode the integrity of the artist as a top-level controller of artistic behavior.
The classic fear. AI taking over the creative process.
But then, in the same Dynaxiom, there's this fascinating counter idea, this prediction. It says what would be interesting is a system with, like, one bot just churning out content nonstop, and another bot doing the curating, selecting stuff based on personas, kind of like UX design personas.
So AI generating and AI selecting.
Exactly. And the source notes, this is probably already happening.
Well, that definitely creates a tension, doesn't it?
It really does.
You've got the fear of the human artist being sidelined, but then this idea of AI as a new kind of creative system, not just making stuff, but shaping how we even find it. If AI is both the engine and the editor, what does artistry mean then?
Right. Does it shift from the single human vision to something more like content manufacturing and targeted delivery?
It challenges that whole idea of a top-level controller, for sure.
And, okay, if there's this flood of AI stuff being churned out and curated, how do we decide what's actually good? Dynaxiom 3295 makes this really important distinction. If something is interesting, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
Yes. That's crucial.
The source uses AI music as an example. It can sometimes be interesting, they say, but is still not up to my standards of what I've typically liked throughout my life.
And that really pushes us, doesn't it, to figure out why we like what we like. Interesting for AI might just mean novel or technically impressive or unexpected. Easy enough, maybe, but good. That often implies something more, maybe vulnerability or struggle or some kind of lived truth that an algorithm just can't fake.
That human signature.
Exactly. So AI forces us to get specific about our own subjective benchmarks. What makes art resonate beyond just being, kind of cool or different?
Thinking about AI tools, there's this great analogy in Dynaxiom 3298. It compares AI to a can opener.
A can opener, okay.
Yeah, observed July 2024. It's like carrying around a tool or utensil of some kind, like a can opener, and using it on everything. I have my can opener with me if you need it.
Huh. I love that. It's so true, isn't it? That feeling of having a new hammer and seeing everything as a nail.
Totally. Like when everyone first got air fryered.
Yes. Trying to air fry toast.
Exactly.
But it's more than just funny. That can opener mindset points to a real risk, right? Applying AI everywhere, sometimes blindly, just because it's new and powerful. We might be overlooking better tools, simpler solutions, maybe even just human interaction because we're so keen to use the AI can opener. It's about using the right tool for the job, not just the newest one.
Okay, so we've gone from the mind to AI. Let's zoom out further now. Look at broader society, systems, how we behave collectively. Dynaxiom 3294 hits hard right away with this warning. When you sink a cost, other things sink.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds ominous. Sunk costs leading to sinking system.
Pretty much. The source gives some really concrete examples. It mentions a big IT outage, July 2024, and highlights how cloud computing is still too wonky and yet the entire world relies on it. Even personal diaries become a sunk cost if they're cloud-based and vanish.
Wow. Yeah, you don't think about your diary as a sunk cost in the cloud, but it is if the cloud fails.
Right. And then there's this hypothetical, but it feels very real. Imagine remote work suddenly becomes impossible, and everyone floods back onto roads, public transport all at once. But maybe those systems can't handle it because they haven't been invested in. Disinvestment as a hidden vulnerability.
That paints a stark picture of systemic fragility, doesn't it? The sunk cost isn't just money, it's our deep reliance on these complex systems. The IT outage shows how one failure point, like the cloud, can ripple outwards. Cascading effects.
Yeah.
And the remote work scenario shows how neglecting one area, like physical infrastructure, can create massive problems if circumstances change suddenly. Our interconnectedness makes us vulnerable in ways we don't always see.
Definitely. Now, shifting slightly, still thinking about society, but more philosophically. Dynaxiom 3299 offers this intriguing thought. What might be worse than eternal postmodernism is a forced metamodernism.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Forced metamodernism.
Yeah.
Worse than endless postmodern irony.
Yeah. The concern expressed is that forcing an idea, even maybe a good one like metamodernism, can have a negative effect because it forces a shadow force to come out into the light before it's ready or isn't genuinely motivated.
The idea of unintended consequences from pushing too hard too fast.
Right. The source does add a personal note, preferring metamodernism because it gives me a wider range of ways of working without having to be exclusive to any one ism. But the warning is about forcing it.
That really speaks to the danger of top-down social or philosophical engineering, doesn't it? Trying to impose a new way of thinking before people are organically ready for it.
Right.
It suggests these shadow forces, maybe resistance, maybe backlash, maybe just confusion can emerge when change isn't genuinely felt or motivated from the ground up. It's a caution against ideological impatience, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that leads us to the final Dynaxiom, 3300. This one is a really striking observation about group behavior, noted as observed in July 2025. It states, fascism is a response to cognitive dissonance.
Wow. That's a heavy statement. How does the source explain that link?
It says, people collectively sense that something is wrong, but it's a vague feeling.
Okay, the general anxiety.
And so they go to the group to find certainty and they get swept up in the groupthink.
Ah, I see. So the cognitive dissonance is that uncomfortable gap between feeling something's wrong and not knowing what or why. And the pull towards fascism, or maybe extreme groupthink in general, is the search for simple, certain answers to resolve that uncomfortable vagueness.
Exactly. The group offers clarity, even if it's a false or dangerous clarity.
Right. It provides a clear us versus them, a simple narrative, a strong leader maybe, to soothe that underlying anxiety. It's a psychological mechanism, really fleeing ambiguity towards the nearest source of certainty, however problematic it might be.
If our minds really do operate like ancient AIs processing the world through primordial patterns, and our complex interconnected systems are fragile, prone to these cascading failures, then how much of what we're experiencing right now is just an echo, something predictable playing out? And how much is actually new? unprecedented. You, the individual trying to make sense of it all, trying to navigate this landscape, what does this understanding ask of you?